What you are investing in, what not to invest in. Don't make decisions based on fear. Don't make decisions based on insecurity. Confidence is the name of the game this month. Hello, Capricorn. My name is Kristen Simone Hansen, and welcome to SeaGoat Secrets. All right. Hello, Capricorn. So I am Kristen, and I am a healer. In this video, you are going to get a full rundown of June's energy around your career and finances and how to apply it to your Capricorn placements. I begin with the astrology and I end with a card reading. If at any point you feel like you connect with me and like our energies resonate, you can join my client circle. That link can be found here and also in the bio. I welcome you. And as many of you know, I am a global citizen and I love connecting with all of you on a worldly and global level. So if you have not already, let me know where you're listening from in the comments and let us all be a strong collective. Now, with all that being said, let's get into this. All right, so Capricorn, this is your career reading for June. And I want to actually begin with going through the reflections for the month of May. May was quite interesting. We saw a lot of growth again tied to your wealth in terms of your viewpoints of yourself. So understanding your values, what it is that you want for yourself. Many of you kind of saw yourselves going through even just downloads about what it is that you want for yourself, what you can achieve for yourself, and the ways in which you want your future to turn out. This big self-awareness dance that's been happening in terms of your value systems has done a wonderful, I don't know, like a lot of progression has happened when it came to this, and this is a part of what added to your career and finances, because you started to realize that you deserved more. You started to understand that you wanted more, as I'm saying. Where we started the month of May, as we ended April with you going through a lot of healing. We started May in a bit of a fog, and as we moved through the rest of the month, a lot of these things tied to how you were breaking up with the past in terms of healing wounds tied to your home, family environments, your self-worth, your viewpoints on finances, on scarcity, how you might have been limiting yourself, lowballing yourself, tying yourself too much to your external viewpoints of what success looked like instead of your internal viewpoints. This awakening of wealth is about the way that wealth has been shining through on an internal level instead of an external level, not defining it outside of yourself, but defining it within yourself. And for many of you that have had to heal through some kind of financial losses or different moments in your career life where you felt like you were not being given what it is that you needed, a lot of this happened so that you could stop identifying with the external self and begin to identify with the internal self. Understanding that wealth begins within, because when you find home within the body, that's step one, right? And then when you awaken within that stability and that groundedness, the rootedness of your root chakra, that's when you begin to grow in terms of what it is that you can create and generate from yourself. It's not always how you control the outside, but what it is that you're doing internally to bring forth light and progression on your outside. So these are the things that were playing out in May, and obviously I'm making it sound a lot prettier than it might have felt when you're talking about deep trauma healing, identity awakening, so awareness of yourself, like I keep saying. It can come with a lot of anger, a lot of rage, a lot of resentment to the times in the past that has not taken place. It could have come with a lot of self-doubt. Who am I to feel like I deserve more? Self-worthiness. old conditionings tied to fears that you might have had when you were very young, or fears that you have about changing your career path, changing the path of how your life wants to go in general. And a lot of this is because you're moving toward what wealth looks like for you. And for some of you, it does mean taking a financial cut in order to live a wealthier experience tied to what you do for work. For others of you, it's increasing your finances greatly, exponentially, in order to be more, I guess, wealthy in a more practical sense, right? And for others of you, this could have shown up with like expanding in business partners or finding a love partner, or wanting to make sure that your love partner does not interfere with your finances or completely increases them. This is especially for those of you who want to be more homemakers and really shifting toward what does it mean to attract in a partner that can provide the ways in which you need, right? So these are all the things that were going on in May. Again, a lot of past stuff, right? And it's still healing the ideas that you have about yourself that are misaligned due to the things that you took or went through in the past, things that took place back then. But all in all, it brought forth a lot of great viewpoints on pleasure and what it is that you could possibly have or deserve for yourself. So as we go into June now, when you were leaving May, you left it on a high note. Although things could have been a little bit foggy. Some of you could have found yourselves in a bit of a depressive state because of the ways in which your life is not reflecting what it is that you want exactly just yet. Others of you, depending on where your karma is, it could have just been subconsciously some of the wounds, especially that deep Sagittarius full moon really hit you guys hard because it was all in your subconscious. So big waves of emotions and stuff in the mind and the past and your identity and things like that. You know, all of these things kind of did a number. So you could have left May in a bit of a foggy state, like I said, a little bit of an eerie state. But this June energy, as Mercury has just moved into Gemini, kind of give you this kick in terms of being able to kind of get your momentum back up. So this brings me into my next point about June. June is where you start to see your energy get revived. May was interesting because as it prioritized pleasure, in your fifth house, because of it being kind of Taurus energy, things could have felt a little lagged, right? So it was more about attracting than it was putting this kind of nose to the grindstone kind of energy. And that followed you into June after the Sagittarius full moon knocked you out emotionally because of your subconscious. So you could have walked into June kind of feeling like not knowing what steps to take or what really to do, almost like this wave of kind of a laziness. And that now is starting to take its shift as June is starting to move forward. Sorry for all the stuttering. Yeah, I don't know what's going on. But anyway, as June started to move itself forward, starts to move itself forward, you're starting to get that energy, right? So, and this is because where Gemini is, it's in your sixth house, and the sixth house momentum for you is all about, I guess, the practicalizing things. So, getting in the driver's seat, right, which we mentioned during May, but getting in the driver's seat when it came to May was more about identity, self-worth, emotionally, and the way that you yourself would show up for yourself, versus in June, it's more about actually implementing things. Jupiter has now shifted itself into Gemini, and all of these sixth house movements that are happening during June is giving you that energy, because the sixth house is represented by Virgo, and Virgo is how you work. It's when you put in the I guess the moments to say, okay, this is what's going to happen, this is what's not going to happen. These are the little details, these are the little critical moments, and putting in a lot of energy toward working toward what it is that you want the most and what it is that you're trying to achieve for yourself. This is the big thing when it comes to Virgo energy, sixth house energy in general. So all of this is kind of coming in and getting you out of that lag of the subconscious, of kind of this like heaviness of what tends to happen when we go through great healing, and pushing you into this more, okay, the other side of healing is action. It is, what will you do with this? Now that you know who you are, what are you going to do with it? Now that you're aware of your talents, how are you going to apply them? Now that you're aware of where your wounds were, how are you going to apply them? All right. So let's get into things week by week. Week 1, we've got the Jupiter trining Pluto transit, which is a big, big deal. Mercury moving into Gemini, and the new moon in Gemini, which is on its way. So with all of this now, the biggest thing is the fact that Jupiter is trining Pluto. Very big. And it's going to be trining Pluto all year. Okay, as well, not for just the rest of the 8-year, but also for the first half of next year. As long as Jupiter is in Gemini, it is going to be trining Pluto. And this is wonderful for you, because this is where we see the 6th house, which is about how you will apply, tied to the 2nd house of where your self-worth and self-love identity is, right? Where your values are. So this is you putting in the actual action steps to bring forth more value, right? More wealth within your experiences, because Pluto is sitting in your 2nd house of Aquarius, and Jupiter is sitting in your 6th house of Gemini. So all of this air energy is moving very, very quickly. Whenever Pluto finds itself in an air element, it moves very fast. So when you put out that energy, you can get it right back, especially as we're still sitting in the 8-year. Whatever it is that you want can come back and return to you. And the universe is on your side in terms of pushing you forward faster than when it set you back, right? When it was setting you back, we were looking at Capricorn and Pluto, which was this slow, deep setting you back. You know, this when you felt things, you were feeling it. When that pain was hitting, it was hitting quite intensely, you know. Versus now, as we're sitting in this new transit, it's saying, okay, that might have taken you about 3 years to go through this particular moment, and now we're in a situation where kind of a 3-year window can be figured out in about a 3-month window, which is quicker, but not always necessarily easier, right? And that's a part of what's been going on for you throughout the year so far. You guys have had to go through a lot of great healing in a short period of time, having to look at things from big windows of time, big chunks of yourself, but breaking through them in a much quicker way than you had in the past, whether you realize it or not. This desire to kind of get on the other side of the rainbow, and kind of lacking patience in that sense makes sense based on how you were tried in the past, but you didn't always stop to look back and see that in fact you're moving a lot faster than you initially did in the past and also thought possible. In order to get to the other side of the rainbow, you have to be aware of the ways in which you stand in your own way, and also be aware of the mistakes that you made that got you here in the first place. And this kind of brings me back to the 6-month reading where we were talking about how the first half of the year is all about the 10 of Cups, right? And how in the shadows were all of the air elements. How you think about it, how you, what are you communicating, what's going on in the subconscious mind as you had to go through all these changes. But it was all about you understanding where you are right now, which is the 10 of Cups. And that's why this June time period is so powerful, because it's you having to look back and really kind of understand that these things directed you so that you can get to a space of kind of the art of your own life, right? And instead of having these grand ideas about what you thought you wanted, you're realizing that you're happier with the things that you have. And you now understand who it is that you are and what will actually make you happy. But you did so by going through various amounts of loss and really having to heal from things that maybe you didn't want to, those moments of the shadowy healing process that you could see the light at the end of the tunnel, but it felt like it was not necessarily possible. So this is a part of what's been playing out for the first half of the year. And now that we have Jupiter trining Pluto, oh my goodness, we've got so much movement. How is your worth being defined by your work, right? On a literal level, in terms of you guys actually doing what it is that you want to do when it comes to your career and your investments and your finances, really enjoying the process more than you would have in the past, wanting to go toward jobs that actually make you happier instead of going towards jobs that are more practical, right? Understanding that your wealth, you achieve more of a wealthier life when you are wealthier in your joy, in your happiness. How is it that you can spend less so that you can do more in terms of investing in, again, the wealth of your emotional health, the wealth of your spiritual health? For those of you who are entrepreneurs, how can you do more of the things that are more organic to you instead of just taking on positions for position's sake, right? And how they take away from you or rob you. So this is a big conversation over the next year, and all of this is kind of moving in your head. Jupiter trining Pluto, Mercury going into Gemini, the new moon in Gemini brings us awareness of that. How do you want to work? How do you want to be healthier, sixth house, but healthier in terms of your money, healthier in terms of your work life, healthier in terms of your day-to-day activities? How can you revisit some of your paperwork and make sure that it's as clean and as clear as possible? Making sure that there aren't any extra slip-ups because you want to make sure that you're living a wealthier existence, right? Where are your resources, and how can you better utilize them? Jupiter is on your side with Pluto pushing you forward into more wealth and more self-worth, right? As Aquarius being in your second house. So this is really beautiful, and this kind of subconscious energy is moving through you all throughout week one. Now on the other side, this awareness of you needing to do more to get on the other side of wealth or progression can make you aware of things that are quite scary, right? It can awaken you to things that you need to do or things that you have done wrong in the past, and feeling like maybe you don't know how you're going to get to the other side. Where there is progression, there is, problem, right? Where there is progress, there is problem. Identifying the problems and practicalizing them. Okay, so I don't want you to think that the identification of issues means that progress is not happening. It's just in order to move forward, you have to be aware of the things that you need to do in order to get there. So we go into week two, and this is where Mars enters Taurus, which slows things down a bit, and the first quarter moon happening in Virgo. So when we look at the energy of week two, this is where we get this kind of practical push, right? As Mars goes into Taurus, it's asking you to go into a space that is more pleasurable. We talked about this when it came to all the energy happening in May, and this puts more momentum tied to how can you do less and achieve more, right? Wealth. How can you make sure that either your work or your finances and the practicalization of a simpler life come from this perspective of how you can do the work now that will make it so that there is more happening or more coming into you. Big on investments as well, because investments lead to a more pleasurable existence. Again, kind of looking at job dynamics, work dynamics, where you can maybe go for a higher position so that you feel like you're taking on less, spending less, downsizing, selling, all of these different things playing out during week two coming into your perspective. In general, you are slowing down, but I don't want you to think it's a negative slowdown. It's, again, more Taurian, kind of like what you were experiencing in May, which is more pleasure, right? It's like, well, what do I need to do to ensure that I get a good bottle of wine weekly, right? Like, I'm a wine drinker. So what is it that I need to do to ensure that I can always get what it is that I need that adds more to my bank account or to the wealth of my experiences? So this is kind of the masculine energy that's moving through you. When we go into week three, we've got Venus going into Cancer, Mercury goes into Cancer, the Sun goes into Cancer, and the full moon starring you. So when we look at week three, we've got a lot going with your opposing energies. So where there is Cancer, there is your seventh house, your partnerships, your relationship dynamics, and what is it that you need to prioritize to expand more when it comes to business. So this is big for you guys looking for business partners, help, assistance, especially tied to spouses or partnerships. How can you guys be focused on making more money? Or who do you need to get rid of in terms of who's standing in the way of your progress? So there's a lot of nurturing tied to this energy. especially as Venus goes there, Mercury goes there, and the Sun goes there. It comes into this perspective during Cancer season where it's like, how can you nurture not only your finances, but again, your partnerships that add to you financially all throughout Cancer season at the end of June. This is a big energy. It's like, you know, you're building the momentum to create the structures that are independent. And by the end of June, it's opening yourself to not codependence, but is it interdependence, I guess is the word, but how you can do more with your relationships. So for some of you, it could be bettering your relationship with your clients. For others of you, with business partners, institutions who can help you achieve your goals. That is a big conversation as the month ends. For those of you that are in relationships, again, where are both of your investments? How are you both showing up in terms of the relationship? And how can you do more around this? I would say also be wary of not to get involved with people in business partnerships that you don't feel intuitively tied to or connected to. As the conversation comes up, you're doing it in a different way than you've done it in the past because your self-worth has changed. So it's an awareness of what serves and what doesn't serve. What clients can you let go of? What clientele no longer serves? And how can you increase more? The good thing is you guys are going to be seeing a lot of serendipity tied to this. So people wanting your services more, people wanting to work with you more, better work environments, especially if you've changed your jobs or changed positions, started new businesses. You're going to see that more can be achieved as you invest in who you know instead of kind of the lugging the hard work of what you know, right? Again, achieving more by doing less. And one of the greatest ways that that's achieved is by who is connecting with you and who wants to invest in you. And so that's one of the things that goes on, or the biggest theme of what's going on during week 3. And this brings about a renewal when it comes to your identity, which as the full moon is in Capricorn. It's asking you to say to yourself, well, how is it that you stood in your way in the past? Some of you can be looking at yourself and kind of you know, it's not to say it will be the easiest feeling, but some of you may laugh at the ways in which you might have cut off your own foot in the past by kind of being a little bit too independent or not utilizing the right relationships or the right resources, overly investing in the wrong people while not investing in the right ones. And again, it's like putting an end to the old you and opening yourself to a more nurtured you, a more expansive and open you. And all of this energy moving in with Cancer, it's showing you where you can nurture yourself more through nurturing your relationships and allowing others to nurture you, nurture your wallet, nurture your finances, because more people want, again, like I said, either your services or you gain more when you let other people in. What resources do you have? What money have you left on the table because you weren't aware of maybe money that was owed to you, or things that have been maybe hidden underneath the surface because you were not focused on the ways in which other people can come in and nurture your energy. You've been too rigid in your approach. So this is where this conversation comes in during week 3, and it can be very, very beautiful. The shadow there is, again, how you're looking at yourself, your old self, your less worthy self, right? And then how it's showcasing itself by other people coming in and giving you more seamless dynamics during week 3. And this goes into week 4 as we see the last quarter moon happening in Aries and Saturn going retrograde in Pisces. So as Saturn goes retrograde, this is asking you to, again, revisit your close-quartered relationships. How have you ignored the ways in which other people can show up for you? Where have you not asked for help? Where have you not seen that you could do more to expand your business when you focus more on people more than you do the work itself, right? So this renewal happens as we end off the month, and it's asking you to revisit, right? Put an end to the me first kind of energy that we see when it comes to Aries, right? the wounded warrior who can take on so many wands independently that they can break themselves down in the process. How many of your wars have been self-induced because of the ways in which you felt like only you could really show up for yourself, right? So these are the dynamics that play out as the end of the month that lead us into July, which is deepening in Cancer energy. All in all, I would say that June is a good month for you financially, especially as we look at the end of it, because of the ways in which you are prioritizing your relationship dynamics. One of the biggest things I wanted to go into is do a little bit of a breakdown of the Jupiter in Gemini transit and how you can make more financially around this transit. So when we look at Jupiter and Gemini, Gemini is all about communication. Mercurial thoughts, mercurial thinking, and mercurial things. And so what is this? This is kind of the day-to-day conversations, a little intellectual moments, the twin energy, right? So for you, this is happening in your 6th house. So if you are starting a business, whether it is especially for those of you guys who like to do mini businesses, could be like picking up a drop shipping store, something like that. Focus on health, right? Conversations around health. If you are a podcast owner, if you are an Instagram owner, whatever it may be, shift your image a little bit toward health and how you can do more in terms of discussing it, how you can open the dialogue to different avenues tied to health. This is a big mode of progress for you financially. Another thing, and obviously the universe is on your side with Jupiter, right? Another thing as well when it comes to dialogue is health and wellness, as we said, other ways of thinking about business practices, how to take care of the self, as we mentioned when it comes to health, and how to make the day-to-day life go about itself more seamlessly. So Gemini being in Jupiter, like I said, it's good for conversation. So if you are starting a podcast, this is a great time. If you are trying to take more of a leadership role at work, or open your mouth more, Jupiter will work more in your favor the better you are at communicating. Conversations are a big thing, and a lot can be achieved through how you say things, the allure in which you project when you say them. Again, your clients, what you're doing in business, spark conversations in places that you may not have in the past. So let's say you are a salesperson and normally you don't do small talk. Implement a little bit of small talk, right? Kind of charm people vocally, and this can see a lot of return in terms of just sales, investments, promotions, different things like that. Opening the dialogue. Where can you implement dialogue-based conversations, dialogue-based elements of your work? Again, dive deeper in terms of your conversational moments when it comes to you and your clientele or you and your customer. And this is where you can see growth. If you are starting a business, I will repeat again, going into health and wellness. Also, if you just want to focus on, again, dialogue-based businesses, conversational-based businesses, and how you can do more like that, showing that you are a person of ideas, right? Showing your ability to intellectualize and showcase your intelligence. Jupiter is plining. Jupiter, I'm talking about conversation, but I've been stuttering throughout this entire video. A lot of it is because I have my own stuff going on, but Jupiter is trining Pluto, okay? So Pluto sitting in Aquarius and also Jupiter sitting in Gemini. This is all about air energy. Show people what you know. Show them where your mind is. Show them your intellectualism, your intelligence. Again, your perspectives, right? You can see a lot of growth in this. So if you are signing a contract, if you are trying to do big business, talk more than you would normally talk, right? Charm them with what you know. And this can see great growth. If you are starting channels, great growth in the way in which you communicate, okay? So that's my biggest advice in terms of us going into a new Jupiter paradigm. For you, this is great in terms of business. You guys are going to be doing a lot when it comes to the little details, the nitty gritty. You're going to have that, I don't want to say fire, but it's more like the energy. You're going to have the energy to really practicalize the life that you want for yourself, in doing all of the little things to do that, and not minding breaking down the systems in order to create foundations made of stone, right? As you've discovered your talents and your abilities and what you desire for yourself during the last Jupiter transit over the last year, it's now being able to bring that into fruition, okay? Do not wait and procrastinate on your ideas. The more you invest in them and the sooner you invest in them, the more return you'll get and the faster you will get them. Talk about it, okay? So that's what I have for you guys in terms of your astrology. We're going to get into the reading now. Also, I forgot to mention that when it comes to this energy of the new Jupiter transit, I'm going to be talking about this in the healing circle, diving deeper into some of the options that we can, I guess, look at when it comes to the Jupiter transit and how we can best utilize it to the best of our abilities, because obviously where there is Jupiter, there is luck, and really focusing on it and its energy in order to grow the best that we can, especially while we are still in the 8th year, which is the year of quick vindication and karma, right? The Capricorn year. So I'm going to talk about that in the healing circle. Also, I would suggest getting a wealth reading for those of you who are looking at getting a personal reading. When it comes to this conversation, if you really want to dive into how to best utilize this energy for yourself and what we can do with the new career paradigm, the wealth reading is the most general, I feel, in terms of being able to heal where you've been to get to where you're going. The Saturn alchemy is also very, very powerful. When I do the Saturn alchemy, understand that it's a different packet than the SeaGoat profile. You're getting a full new profile when you go into Saturn alchemy, and I break down a lot of things tied to alchemic principles, the constitution of man, all that other good stuff, and how you're getting in your way and how to get out of it. The other one I would say is a soul purpose reading. If you want to find out how to identify your purpose and then how to apply it again to the new paradigm. So that's my suggestion for you guys. I just wanted to make a little bit of that PSA. Capricorn. So let's get into this reading, shall we? So in your subject, this is interesting because this reading is very similar to what we saw in the personal reading, which is no surprise to me because if you remember in the personal reading, for those of you who have not seen it yet, I'll link it right here. But in the personal reading, we saw that the Five of Pentacles is a conversation in terms of what's going on with the internal dynamic. And I mentioned how for some of you, it could reflect, because it's an energy, right? When we're talking about the personal reading, it's all about what's going on the internal. And the Five of Pentacles energy can manifest financially. It could manifest in the career. It could have manifested with feelings of loneliness or abandonment or scarcity. The scarcity mindset can manifest in many different ways. Imbalances in terms of finances could also just mean structurally, the structures that are surrounding your life or legalities or things like that, not necessarily having to do specifically with finances. So to no surprise, we see some of those same themes playing out. We don't see a Five of Pentacles here when it comes to career and finances, but we see some similar cards, like the Queen of Wands being the star here. And then also the Ein Sof, oh, sorry, I said that incorrectly. Ein Sof going on here when it came to some of the advice for what was happening in the personal. So let's take a deeper dive. And I believe we saw some of the Tower, but I don't remember. I don't remember if there was a Tower or not in the personal, but let's dive even deeper, okay? So we've got the Queen of Wands along with the Tower and the Nine of Wands. This is clarified by Cupid's arrow, so this is a big thing pertaining to faith, your vitality, your creative energy, using your creativity and your confidence in order to stand steady in terms of what it is that you want to create or what it is that you're doing, how you're moving forward with things. And this is a part of what's fueling you and your faith. Faith is a big conversation for you when it comes to career and finances. Here we have this married with not showing true feelings, mask, pursue, personify, pretend, etc., dilute, and this is here with kisses, talking about unconditional giving and receiving. So with this energy off the bat, it feels like you are, again, kind of similar to what we saw in the personal reading, going through an interesting battle between confidence and a little insecurity. Not as major, okay? This is more in the sense of you're stepping out on faith, having this strong sense of self, but then this is married with a major tower energy going on. So clearly there are great changes happening in your career and your finances. There are things that are completely out of your control, and then you're moving forward as the wounded warrior. In this case, this wounded warrior does not feel, this nine of wands here, does not feel weighted. It doesn't feel eerie to me. It feels like someone who is aware that they're on a journey, that they are kind of moving through a bit of a war, but they're doing it with a lot more positive energy, a lot more happiness in that sense. And these towers are interesting because they don't, again, it doesn't feel like, even though we see this storm and we see all these things falling, it doesn't necessarily feel like it's something that's going to rupture you in a negative way. There is rupture, there is breakdown, but breakdowns leading to a breakthrough. And your faith, in terms of understanding that there are great things that are on their way to you, and you can feel that even if you don't necessarily know what it is, because something's being hidden from you. Something's not being seen that's going to progress you forward. And it is going back into the space of unconditional giving and receiving. This is a beautiful energy in terms of understanding that through your faith, there is this great awareness that what it is that you desire is on its way because of great change, because of things that are out of your control, that shake the ground, that bring forth an ability to have things kind of for new earth to grow, I guess, right? But in your shadow, what you fear is, what are we sitting here? We've got Baba Calabash, and this is accompanied with, is this the five? Yeah, with the Five of Canes. So, all right, so you have a strong fear of emotional imbalance and also competition. So it's almost like the choices that somebody else will make, the decision makers, how the decision makers feel about you and what will happen due to such perspective. So it doesn't feel necessarily like a competition directly, but again, as if the decisions or if what's happening in your career and finances is outside of your hands. And the fear goes back to feeling like, well, will I end up on top in this situation? Is there a fight here? Is there something that will work against me, I guess, because you aren't seeing things, or you have full faith, you know that you're getting returns, but you don't know what they are. You don't know what they look like or what they feel like, but there's something inside of you that is existing in a bit of hopefulness, even if it's kind of nonsensical. And as the month continues to go on, this confidence is going to continue to increase. And this is kind of going back and forth when it comes to the wounded warrior in that sense, where even though you are wounded, you are sitting in hopefulness. And it's mainly because as things continue to crash down, again, we're looking at breakdowns becoming breakthroughs. When we look at your spiritual advice, we've got the power of attraction and focus on the light. Again, more very positive energy, right? Very, like, even the way that I'm feeling right now, it feels like this vibrant kind of energy. And when we look at the power of attraction and focus on the light, it goes back into the space of what you fear being other people's feelings and perspectives about you. And yet and still your spiritual advice is rooted in understanding that through connecting with others, you'll find this light at the end of the tunnel. It's all about the way you're thinking about it. It's about your faith. The biggest thing when it comes to your career and your finances is about faith. And faith being the driving force behind your confidence. What I love about the Queen of Wands is she tends to represent delusional confidence. That's always kind of my joke to her, right? Like, it's like, I'm going to do what it is that I'm going to do, and I'm going to do it with such full, I don't know, there's no other word to really use. It's raining. I'm not sure if you guys can hear that, but there's no other word to really describe it besides confidence. And regardless of how it may look or how things may seem or how other people do things, this confidence is going to be able to drive my car basically into what it is that I want, or the destination that I'm looking to go toward. So as we look at this power of attraction, and when we think of the Queen of Wands, she is very attractive. And again, your confidence, your vitality, your delusional personal power, being able to fuel your faith, to you being able to attract in what it is that you want, and most importantly, attract in people. A lot of this has to do with the way that other people are seeing you. The way in which you are appealing to others is exactly what works in your favor in terms of you getting what it is that you want coming out on the other side. When we look at career and finances, I also want to get you guys to understand that it covers a lot of things. Obviously money, abundance, what you're doing in terms of your career and your day-to-day, but then also structural things like legalities and different things like that. That's kind of what I mean when I'm covering all of this stuff when it comes to career and finances. So clearly your charisma is a part of what brings you return. Charisma and courage, I would say. And that is what leads to you being able to get what it is that you desire, the things that are unseen. Just focusing on a positive perspective because you're going to get what it is that you want. Let's go into your healing points. Okay, so this is an air energy for me. A way through the struggle has already been created for you, and you're being led onto that path. Your authentic soul path may include recognition and acclaim, notable success and admiration. Be grateful, but do not be dazzled or distracted by such experiences. Focus on what connects you to your heart and grounds you in the simplicity of your spiritual truth, which is the practice of love, kindness, and peace. This will allow for successful progress in the material world without disturbing the sanctity of your soul. So this goes back into a space, as I keep saying, charisma, charm, grace, vitality, attractiveness. This is a part of what's working in your favor when it comes to your career and your finances. This can simply, really and truly just mean that other people are able to create great returns for you, where again, this tower is actually something that is good. When things are breaking down, they are moving in your favor in terms of creating what it is that you want to move yourself, because the wounded warrior, I think, often gets a bad rep in terms of when we see this Nine of Wands, feeling like it innately means pressure and difficulty, but actuality, it's being able to move forward. And there was another reading that we did recently where we saw, I believe, the Ten of Wands, kind of in a similar position, where it's like being able to see through this energy to come out on the other side. It's like you've been carrying burdens for a while, and as you've been in this wounded space, this is a part of the thing that shifts this time around, being able to use your own energy in order to create what it is that you want, the way that other people see you, being able to be the thing that works in your favor. And again, I'm sorry because it is raining and I cannot control that. I love the rain personally. But let's go into self-beauty. This is another air energy, so 2 air energies. Tune into your heart and you will be able to find your way through any negative or toxic situation. Engage in self-healing and space clearing. Commit to regular practices that help you connect to your inner light. Your light shall not be overcome by any darkness or negativity. Take time to clean your heart and mind of negativity by focusing on the divine beings that bring joy to your heart. It is appropriate for you to desire your own personal and sacred space and access it daily. Yeah. And this is right next to focusing on the light. it's such a beautiful newness, right? You don't have to do it the way you've done it before, right? There's something about you that is making people want to do it for you. There's something about you that can really attract and create the outcomes that you desire through your own energy. And when you step out of this headspace of negative thinking and worrying and stress, and you move into the space of confidence and faith, and kind of saying to yourself, well, I deserve it. Because I can't help but feel like I said, you've been carrying some kind of burdens, and you've been carrying them well. You're fearful of how other people will feel about you and you not being able to get what it is that you want, but you do not need to fear that in this case. There is an equal give and take here. Your faith is here for a reason. But yeah, as the month progresses, there are things you do not know. But you will know them. You will come to know them. Attract it in. Let people like you. Let the way in which they like you be the thing that works for you, even if it's not entirely in your own hands. At the bottom of the healing deck, we have the best stud of 174 hertz. And this one is all about winding down. Understanding that you've been wound up for so long, you've been stressed out for so long, you don't see how you've been getting in your own way. This is asking you to relax your energy. So here we've got understanding that you are kind of this person of popularity in this sense, right? This character that people like and this and kind of look at in this high acclaim, leaning into that acclaim along with the Queen of Wands and the attractiveness, your ability to create through what you attract. Then we go into this space of this focusing on the positive energy, right? Prioritizing the light. And it's rooted here when it comes to understanding that you need to relax more, because these two things, positive thinking and understanding that you are liked and you are respected and you are seen in a positive light, kind of puts you in the headspace of not what you know, but who you know. And that giving you an ability to relax a bit more. Stepping out of this sense of worry. Right? I'll read this for you. You've been moving so fast for so long that you're not realizing how wound up you've become. Gently unwind now to drop into a deeper, slower healing rhythm, and you will restore your body, mind, and soul. Things which seem too difficult right now shall soon seem very manageable and even pleasurable to accomplish. Yeah. It's like when you're not working so hard, you can pull, and what I love about the who you know versus what you know is it is about working smarter and not harder. When you're not working so hard, you understand that you can attract. The Queen of Wands is also an entrepreneur, no different than the Pentacles energy, than a Capricorn energy. It's just she goes about it in a way where her enigma is something that makes people want to give her the job. Want to work with her, become her clients, connect with her, pay for her. And I'm saying her for a reason, because it's not a gendered thing. It's about understanding the energy of the Queen of Wands, which is a feminine, masculine energy. And it's kind of navigating the two perspectives, where it's understanding that the outside world, the masculine principle, is intrigued by the things that it finds alluring and interesting. Being able to just be yourself, and that being the reason why, and that being the thing that pulls in other people's energies to you, and being able to give you what it is that you need, this equal give and take that you've been desiring, and stepping out of a negative headspace to calm down more. When you know that you can get what it is that you desire, when you have faith that you can get what it is that you desire, you relax your energy more. You're not so wounded. You're just kind of going through a process. When we look at the bottom of the advice deck, we've got diving for light. I don't think it's a coincidence that it's raining. Not at all. Allowing it to relax you, right? How do you look at rain? Do you feel like it's something that you need to run from, that you resent or resist, or does it feel like relief? Oftentimes when it's raining, I feel like it's relief, especially on a hot day. It was pretty hot today. Not letting it fall in vain, right? When we look at the bottom of the crow deck, we've got the Four of Swords again, and we've got the Hangman. Both of these are telling you to relax. Under your energies. This tower is falling, and there isn't anything you can do about it. There isn't anything you can do about it. At the bottom of the clarifications, we've got not today, setting boundaries. So that, I think, is interesting in terms of protecting the energy, protecting yourself, and also understanding that you are, in fact, protected. Not letting your energy spill over too much, especially in the face of something like desperation, or what you think is desperation. No need to feel desperate, or be that way, for that matter. Remember, I want you to know that this is the subject. This is what's going on, inevitably. This is the advice. So when I talk about these energies, it is not an embodiment of the viewpoints of advice. It's just understanding the narrative. The Eight of Cups just flew out. The Eight of Cups talks about walking away. So let's get some advice. Yeah, just have faith. You're going to get what it is that you want. Pull it into you. Step out of this negative headspace. Good advice. How is it that you need to feel? What is it that you need to know? What do you need to be doing? For your advice. Oh my goodness, with this King of Swords. Wow. How is it that you need to feel 5 swords? What is it that you need? Wow, okay. So we have these, I was laughing because this King of Swords has come out in almost every single reading that we've done this month. Control your head. Control your emotions. Navigate your emotions with wisdom. Navigate them with wisdom. Get on top of the way that you're thinking and how you're going about it, how you're thinking about it. In terms of these other energies, we're talking about this headspace. We've got the Eight of Wands in reverse. We've got the Tower, 5 of Swords. So again, it goes back into the space of like the 5 of Swords. I feel like often doesn't get the proper perspective. It's a matter of understanding how to get what it is that you need by all means necessary. And allow this tower to fall. Don't move too quickly. Don't rush in out of anxiety. There's no need to do that. It's in a calculated way inside of the mind. Control your decisions. Work within strategy. Break down the old paradigm in order to make way for a new reality. So that you need to do. What is your advice? Authority and independence. And we go back into, like we said, this King of Swords energy, right? Authority and independence. And I think I talked about this in another reading, how the King of Swords is Capricorn energy. And when Capricorn steps into the King of Swords energy, it's all about strategy. It's all about wisdom. And this has been coming out so much. And so we go into your authority and your independence. Take on the role of the leader, and everyone will respect you. Be confident. Queen of Wands. Manage money yourself. Independence guarantees security. Don't depend on others. So this is interesting because, as we said, other people will be working in your favor this time around. But this does not mean codependence. The Queen of Wands is an independent energy. Again, she's magnetic. She attracts in. You're pulling people to you, but you're not doing it from a space of desperation. You're not doing it from a space of begging or neediness. You're doing it from a space where you're relaxed. You're not wound up because you know what it is that you deserve and you're pulling it into you. You're standing on business. That's what these two are standing, representing in that sense. Very firmly, very strong. These towers are falling and you want them to fall. Because you want change. Things need to change from where it is that they were. You've got it. But it's just you've got it in a way that's different than the way that you're used to getting it. You've got it because you're confident about it. Because you're attractive. Because you're having a positive mindset. Because you have full faith in being able to get what it is that you deserve, equal give and take. That you understand that what it is that has not been seen will be revealed to you because you are the authority. The independent authority that is deserving of all things, simply because you are you. And it's not a matter of arrogance, it's just a matter of the truth. Where is your confidence when it comes from this space, instead of the space of the fearful, scared, wounded workaholic? You're setting boundaries here. You're still firm within yourself here. That's what it means to be the authority. And yet, and still, you're still the leader. Self-confidence. So I don't see anything to fear here, honestly. Besides maybe yourself. Maybe let's get some what do you need to be weary of? And we'll wrap up there. And the kind of authority you have is the King of Swords. Again, clarity of mind, strategy, decision making. Not allowing your emotions get the best of you, on top of things in terms of your head and how your mind is thinking about things. Capricorn embraces the King of Swords when it's really about its business. And through positive thinking and just understanding that you're going to get what it is that you want because you deserve it. What kind of authority are you when you are just the one that is owning your appeal? Instead of the one that has to prove it all the time. What do you need to be wary of? Your investments. So, and I think that is really big because, again, we're going into the space where you have to understand your authority, your independence, your strength as the King of Swords energy. Invest wisely. Don't waste your time on things that do not serve you, old ideas that do not serve you, old people and situations. The tower is falling for a reason. Be very strategic. Know what you are investing in, what not to invest in. Don't make decisions based on fear. Don't make decisions based on insecurity. Confidence is the name of the game this month. Confidence and attraction. more than action. Eight of Wands is sitting in reverse. Okay, so that's what I have for you. I love you. Ciao.